Hi, in this lesson we're going to look at graphs of wholes. So we're talking about sector graphs and divided bar graphs. So here we have a sector graph. This is often called a pie chart, if you've heard of that before. And this is a divided bar graph. Um, so that's what those are. They're showing the exact same information. People have ranked their favorite food out of these four. And we have chocolate being the same as 44% in both of them. However, the way it's represented is a bit different. But in both of these, it takes up 44% in the divided bar graph of this entire length. And in the sector graph, it's going to be 44% of the 360 degrees. So this part here is 44% of 360 degrees. We're going to have a look at how we would draw a sector graph. So here is an important thing to remember. You can remember the formula or you can work it out in a different way in your head, but I've put this there to help us. So here we have our favorite colors, red, green, orange, and blue. And these are the amounts of people who've chosen each of those. So far, this is like things that we've seen already. Now, we want to put our score over our total. So we want to find out the fraction of people who chose red. And so the way we're going to do this is we're going to take the number 6, which is the number of people who chose red, and divide that by the total number of people. So that gives us 6 divided by 20, which is the same as 0.3. Then we want to work out what fraction of people chose 7. So we put 7 divided by 20, which is this score divided by total, which is going to be 0.35. Again, we want 2 over 20, 0.1. And we had 5 people, we want to work out percentage, we have 5 divided by the total, we get 0.25. So these are our scores over our totals. Then we want to multiply this by 360 degrees, so we can work out how many degrees each of these is going to get on our circle. So here's our circle. We're going to work out how many degrees each of these is going to take up. So you can stick these into your calculator. If we have 0.3 times 360, we get 108. 0.35 times 360, we get 126, 36, and 90 degrees. Now we're going to graph this. We begin by drawing a line anywhere on our sector graph, like this. Then we take our protractor. We're going to line up our protractor so that the middle of the protractor is on this little circle here, and it follows this line. So we put our protractor here. There we go. And now we want to measure out our first degrees, which is 108. So we're starting here, and wherever we start, we're going to read the 0. So we're starting here, so we're going to read the number on the top. If we were starting on this side, we would read the number on the bottom. However, we're starting at the top, so we're going to read the top number, and we're going around till we get to 108. So we're going to go around, we have 10, 20, 30, all the way up. We get to 100 and 110. So we have 100 here and 110 here. We want to go along to the 8th dash, which is here, much like a ruler. So we're going to draw a line from the center up to that dot. So we're going to draw a line like this. So that is going to be our red. That's the number of people who chose red. Let me just rub out these things. Okay. So that's what our graph is going to look like so far. And we could even write that 30% of people chose red. So all I've done is taken this number here and multiply that by 100 over 1%. So I've just turned this decimal into a percentage. Next, we want to work out how many green. So we're going to go along till we get to 126, making sure that our center of our protractor is lined up on the center of our circle. We got 126, which is here. We draw our line. Oh, I've drawn that line a bit off. Okay. never mind. We'll have to deal with that later. We get green, and that would be 35%. Next, we have our 36 degrees, which is our orange. We're going to go around from 0, so from where our line started. So you can see I've made a bit of an error here. So we're going to have a bit of an error in our results. So we're going to go around to 36, so we're going to be somewhere around this point. Cool, so that's our orange, which is 10%. And then finally, this part here should be blue, which is 25% of our people. We'll check. So we put our protractor down. We can see that we're a bit off. We measured a few of these a bit off each way, so it's almost evened out. And that's the end of our sector graph. So we can erase this. There we go. So that's our sector graph. So now we're going to have a go at drawing a divided bar graph. So before we had this formula here, we'd work out that the size of a sector, or the amount of degrees that each of these options would have, would be the score divided by the total, so the number divided by the total, which is this column here, times 360. That was because we were using a circle, and there's 360 degrees in a circle. We wanted to work out how many degrees each of these different sectors were going to take up. However, we're now moving on to a bar graph. So instead of a 360 degree circle, we have a length of the bar. So here we have our bar, and I've divided it into 10 parts for us to make it a bit easier. We'll just consider each of these to be 1 unit. So this whole thing here is 10 units. So our length of each of these is going to be this number times 10 is going to give us the number of units. So 0.3 times 10 is 3 units. 0.35 is 3.5 units. 1 unit and 2.5 units. Now, these should all add up to give us 1 or 100%. Now we can just go through and draw up our divided bar graph. So first we have our red, we go 1, 2, 3 units. So we draw a line down this. Yeah. So this here is our red. And we could write again 30%. Next, green takes up 3.5. So go 1, 2, 3, and a half. So we're going to draw a line halfway down this one. And it's going to be green. And that's 35%. Next is orange, that's 1 unit. So we go 1 across. We're going to go down here. We're going to get orange. And that was 10%. And then finally, this area here should be the blue, which is 2.5 units. We have 1, 2.5. So we have blue, which is 25%. I hope that's made sense. If you have any questions, please bring them to me. Thanks.